societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. So this is Prahlad Maharaj. Now the one that I used to know is Pragnana Deva Munayas Takama Monam Chiranti Vijane Napa Arta Vista Nista Naitan Vihaya Kripanan Vimawuksa Eko Nanyam Twat Asha Sharanam Brahmato Nupashe. Where he says, my dear Lord Nrsimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons and deeds. They're not interested in liberating others. Not caring for the big cities and towns, they don't go to the Himalayas or to the forest and meditate with vows of silence, Monavrata. Again, they're not interested in liberating others. Prahlad Maharaj says, as for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving beside all these poor fools and rascals. I know without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of the lotus feet, one cannot become happy. Therefore, I wish to stay and bring them back to the shelter of your lotus feet. This is the sweetness, this is the mood of the devotees who are absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. Not only do the devotees think of Krishna, but the devotees think of the devotees. The devotees think of the poor fools and rascals. Phew, I got in there, right? And therefore, they want to make sure that we're delivered. But the new one I found has a very special flavor to it because I call it a sweet ball. It's an explanation, but I tell me who you think this prayer should go to. Aham tw- aham twakarmas twad bhaktas tram chashram anupashraya nanyata nandete havayor arto rajaseva kayor eva. Translation. O my Lord, I am your unmotivated servant, and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. I love to lay that verse at the feet of Nam Prabhu, understanding our pathetic plight that Krishna is naturally our master, and we're naturally his servant. There need be no other relationship. So it's a nice meditation. If you try to get a little absorbed before chanting and just think like this. As we approach the holy name, my dear Lord, I am your unmotivated servant, and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. So this morning, I want us to approach our japa like this. Um, just glorifying the Lord, but being aware of that relationship. That's all we can ever be is Krishna's eternal servant. And when done properly, it's wonderful. So let's call on them. Jai Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu, Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi,
Srivasadi,
Gaur
Gaur,
Bhaktavinda.
Bhaktivinoda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Krishna
Ram,
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna. Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare.
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Hare Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna.
Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna.
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna.
Hare
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 Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna.
Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare.
Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
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 Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna.
Ram Hare Hare
Hare Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna.
Hare Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Hare,
Ram Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna.
Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare.
Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna.
Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram 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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Krishna.
Hare Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
Ram Hare. Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Ram 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 Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram 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 Ram, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna, Hare Hare Ram 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 Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
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 Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare.
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
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 Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Ram, Hare
Ram Hare
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram
Ram,
Ram Ram
Hare
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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
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 Ram, Hare Hare
Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
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 Hare Ram Hare Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare, Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare
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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Hare Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram
Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
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 Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram,
Jai Shri
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Chaitanya
Krishna
Prabhu
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Nityananda
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare, Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Hare.
Ram, Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare
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 Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
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 Ram,
Hare
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 Hare,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna.
Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare,
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram Hare
Krishna
Ram
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 Ram,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
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 Ram,
Ram Hare
Ram
Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Hare,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Hare Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare,
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Hare Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare.
Ram Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Ram,
Ram
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Ram Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna.
Ram 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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
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 Hare.
Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna.
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna
Ram Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram.
Krishna Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna.
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Ram Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram Hare
Ram,
Ram 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 Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
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 Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram, Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Hare
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 Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Ram
Hare
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 Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Hare Ram
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 Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram
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 Hare
Ram
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Hare
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
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 Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Ram Ram, Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram,
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Rama,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
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 Hare Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram, Hare
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 Krishna
Rama,
Hare Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram 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 Hare
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 Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare 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 Ram Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram Hare
Hare
Ram 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 Hare
Ram,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram
Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Ram,
Hare
Rama
Hare
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 Krishna
Ram 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 Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama
Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna
Hare Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Hare
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
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 Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Krishna
Ram.
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
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 Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Krishna Hare Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare Hare
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram Ram
Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna
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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
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 Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare 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 Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram Hare
Hare
Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram
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 Hare
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 Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
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 Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram,
Ram Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
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 Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram Hare
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 Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
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 Hare
Ram
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 Hare
Ram Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare
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 Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
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 Ram,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram Ram
Ram,
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Ram, Ram
Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Hare Ram
Hare
Hare Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
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 Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna. Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
So,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna.
so Prabhu's, it's we're halfway at the halfway mark. I apologize because we got a little thrown off, and that means it cut into our Japa time. But I have something good to tell you that if you wake up and you want to come on early and chant Hare Krishna, it's great. Me and Mother Sue Devi, we got into it early. So, 6:30, whatever. If you want to come in and start chanting, I'm just sitting here spacing out, praying that the Lord help me get it together. So you can come call in early and we can chant together early also. Anyway, I want to explain the reason that I give you reflections from my weekly reading is because it takes the whole complete package to help us become Krishna conscious. The holy name alone can do it, but we're so distracted that better we take to the process. There are 9 processes of devotional service. So this hearing, chanting, remembering, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarnam, worshiping the deity, you know, all these different aspects of our devotional life, they enable us to chant even better. So I share those reflections with you. Okay, Mother,
Yes, I am ready. Do you want to put the Japa form up?
put it up.
All right.
Well, that's Jagannath. Is that where we left off? An example?
I'm not sure.
I have written that we left off page 28. That's my notes from last Saturday is that page 28 is where we stopped. So it's one of these 2 paragraphs.
No, I
Okay.
think we have to start from the beginning, Japa Reform Notebook.
You said we have to start from the beginning?
Yes.
We did.
We did already.
We did. We start from the beginning.
We have to do, I think we have to do our trying to chant nicely, satisfying to Krishna.
So this is where we stopped last week. So it was on this page. It's just where you want to start for today.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Oh, we're at an example? Oh, an example. Okay. Okay.
Page 28.
Om Gana Chamaranda Shagana Jana Shilaka Chaksha Omilitamina Tajma Shudari Namaha. An example is the pseudo spiritual hippie and personal philosophy that what's really happening is whatever is happening now is summed up in that phrase, be here now. I so thought we read that because I'm always reading ahead. It's summed up in that phrase. But here now, I had a friend who used to say, as far as eternal, there's no afterlife, but there is eternal. Eternal means now. What's happening now? Actually, that philosophy leads to hedonism. The moment, whatever is happening, is that is all there is. So you have to really get into it. And sometimes they try for spirituality, that everything right now is holy. And this is what is transcendental. You invest yourself, invest meaning into the temporary life, and that is religious. But that's bogus because there is another life. There is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead beyond this world. It's not that this is all there is. So you have to invest everything here. We don't subscribe to that philosophy, but we can take that mentality, we can apply it. Be here now because we have got eternal transcendental life given to us in Krishna consciousness. The chanting is Krishna. So for us, that is true, that everything is here. Be here now. Krishna is actually here in his name. All you have to do is get into it or get with it, that this is Krishna's name. So while you're chanting, you don't have to get to something else or go somewhere else or wait for it to happen. But you just have to realize that this is actually Krishna. Then, as you realize Krishna more, you get more into chanting. You realize that the chanting is simply to chant Krishna's name, and you want to do it more and more. Of course, in a sense, it is true that the chanting leads to a breakthrough and to higher understanding, but to higher understanding of the same thing, that Krishna is his name, that Krishna is actually his name. And then you realize it more than that actually Krishna is his name. Sometimes we gain a little understanding of it. We say, you know, I've been chanting. I am understanding that actually the name is Krishna. Or we may be reading and then understand, oh, actually the name is Krishna. Krishna is his name. Krishna is so wonderful. And Krishna is appearing in his name. Improving chanting means realizing this more and more. Just like with the deity, Krishna is standing on the altar. So we keep going and seeing Krishna. The best way to take his darshan is to get more and more realization that Krishna is actually here. Not that you have to see a light coming from the deity or see him move, but he has come in this form. He's exactly Krishna in this brass form. He's not brass, he's Krishna, but exactly as he is. The name is like this. The name is actually Krishna. Not that by chanting, then something else, but the sound vibration is Krishna. It's just a matter of becoming submissive or receptive. Prabhupada uses the phrase oral reception. We produce this sound, we hear it. This is yoga. Therefore, it's such a simple process. We can make all advancement. Chanting is done from the heart. As a way of life, that is inoffensive chanting. It is not just a technique. You have in the past been a victim of your uncontrolled senses. You should pray to Krishna when you chant. Please save me from Maya. Please save me from my raging senses. Please, Lord, engage my senses in your service. Please let me chant Hare Krishna sincerely. Please do not let me go away from your lotus feet into the jaws of Maya. This prayerful attitude as you chant, realizing your dangerous position, will be more effective than touching the tongue to the upper portion of the palate like the South Indian Brahmana. A few years ago, on the inside cover of Back to Godhead, we used an ad where different karmis would relate their experiences of chanting Hare Krishna. One man said, it charges my batteries. And others said different things. Prabhupada said, that is all good, that is all right. But you must also instruct them that they should take to the process. Chanting involves the whole process. We don't want people to introduce it in their lives as a cheap thing. Oh, I chant because it relieves me of tension before I go to the executive board meeting or before my performance. I chant Hare Krishna. You have to take to the process. All right, Jagannath, where are you?
I'm right here, Prabhu.
I told you, you're my man. Are you sure this is your last week here?
Unless I take a Saturday off, because
You're not taking the Saturday off. The wife's right beside you. Start reading.
yeah, I'll be returning to work next week. So yeah, Saturdays I work also.
Okay. So we'll hear from you for the
All
last
right.
time for a while.
Jai. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Ras Vigraha. Commenting on this verse, Srila Prabhupada said, Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, or Krishna's name or Krishna's form, pastime, anything about Krishna, they are one. Therefore, by chanting his Hare Krishna mantra, you directly contact Krishna. Krishna is the Nami, and Hare Krishna mantra is his name. But they are non-different. Otherwise, how this Hare Krishna movement is so quickly appreciated all over the world? There's no difference between chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and meeting Krishna eye to eye, face to face. Simply one has to realize, the more you become purified by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, you will see Krishna face to face. People are asking, can you show me God? You can see. Simply prepare your eyes. Simply prepare your ears by hearing. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So this is a very scientific, authorized, practical movement. You chant Hare Krishna mantra, and you will realize that gradually you are advancing to meet Krishna face to face. It is possible. Lecture by Srila Prabhupada, January 1273 in Bombay. How can you control your mind by chanting? This is an honest question. Even if you don't commit gross sinful activities, the subtle material desires in the mind and the fact that the mind is uncontrolled makes you unable to chant. This is especially prominent in the age of Kali. The only solution is to work hard at chanting. Krishna says wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under the control of the higher self. Just as when a parent takes care of a little child, the parent has to constantly see that the child does not go astray. The parent cannot say that the child should cooperate more and just stay in one place. But the parent lovingly has to constantly watch. In the same way, you have to lovingly and yet strongly discipline the mind and keep it concentrated on the holy name. Do not find fault with the process, and do not think that Krishna is not helping you. He has helped you by giving you himself in his holy name. Now you have to take to the process sincerely, and God helps those who help themselves. You just have to be aware of the importance of chanting. Whatever the leaders preach, the others will talk about and follow. But you cannot artificially preach or introduce anything to someone else unless you first introduce it to yourself. First examine your own chanting. Then you can convey your realization to the others. It is not like some legislation. If you want something to enter people's hearts, it has to enter your heart first. As you chant Hare Krishna, your dormant love of God will come out, just as butter comes out when we churn milk. Butter is already there in the milk, but it has to be brought out by the process of churning. So your love of God is there. It just has to be brought out by your chanting. Chanting Hare Krishna Japa should be done by moving the tongue and lips, reciting audibly, and pronouncing the words. At least our 16 rounds should be chanted in this way. Beyond this, If one can chant Hare Krishna at other times, it is good. Such chanting aloud should not be considered external. The sound vibration is part of the internal or spiritual energy. Not that because we chant aloud, it is external, whereas quiet or silent or meditative chanting is internal. Lord Chaitanya savored the external congregational chanting of kirtan, and even the japa is done aloud. Prabhupada once said, if we try to chant in the mind, then without chanting aloud, we may have to listen to the mind's nonsense. So to overcome the devious mind, we chant aloud. It is all right to recite the translation, but not that it should be done regularly after each mantra. Don't concoct. But how can I become determined to chant Hare Krishna? I have read Lord Chaitanya's prayer where he states that he has no attraction for the holy name. So I think certainly this is my position also, except I cannot even make it into a wonderful prayer of lamentation, as did Lord Chaitanya. Whatever progress I have made in my chanting is due to Krishna's mercy on me. We gain benefit by watching others chant with great absorption. The words should be chanted with clear utterance, and the whole body should be concentrated on the chanting. We can't expect to do other things while chanting Hare Krishna. It is not such a thing that you can negligently chant and at the same time drive a car, dial a telephone, read a newspaper, etc. We should not minimize the hearing. What are we hearing? Krishna's name. Hearing oneself calling on Krishna's name is really not different from addressing Krishna. It should not be that we are repeating the name dully or unconsciously. So let your consciousness be that you think of calling on Krishna's name while you actually recite that name. This is called attentive chanting. As far as whether Krishna hears you, yes, Krishna hears you directly. But I do not think that Prabhupada is left out of that direct hearing. Brahmananda Maharaj calls this Prabhupada consciousness. That is, that when we chant as well as do any other service, we think, I am doing this because it has been given to me by Prabhupada. So we are thanking Prabhupada as we chant. I know myself when I chant Hare Krishna mantra, and sometimes feel myself grow inattentive. I spontaneously call out, Prabhupada. This spontaneous call shows that I am thinking of the chanting in terms of my spiritual master who gave it to me. The chanting always goes through the spiritual master. At what point would we like to become so advanced that we now kick aside the spiritual master? At least I would not like to reap such advancement.
Thanks, Jagannath. Thank you, Prabhu. So sweet. So I think, I can't see the time, but I think we have 10 minutes left. Is that so? Mother Vrindavaneshwari?
Yes, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Yes, we have
That's
10
okay.
minutes left.
So there's so many nice things that we went over this morning. The first thing is that this chanting is everything for us. You know, the more we invest in the chanting, the more we can expect to get from it. And it's not like some business arrangement. It has already been arranged by our spiritual master that we chant this mantra. So that's already been arranged. But the chanting of the mantra is to be done so with a certain mentality, a certain attitude, as you heard here. It's not that we chant and we are waiting for something to happen. Something is happening. But as we continue to chant with our heart, and I love hearing that because it's so difficult. Because I ask myself, how can I chant with my heart? And I don't think I can, but at least I can pray. When I start to chant, I can ask Krishna to please use me. Just as the last prayer I went over, where I'm trying to say that I'm your unmotivated servant, but that our only relationship is one of master and servant, and that's all it can ever be. So please use me in that way. Please engage me in your service. And the more I can reflect like that, I can get praying. I mean, I'm telling you, my mother taught me how to pray, and it worked. That prayer never stopped. And so when chanting, we don't have to even say the word, but the prayerful mood comes. It's a mood of wanting the Lord to hear me, wanting Him to use me. Uh, Awareness of our relationship that has become somewhat broken, and that we're sincerely trying to reestablish it. So, anyway, it's your turn. We've discussed, we've read, and now I need you to share. You can inquire, you can share, but it's your turn. Okay, get those mics open, mother.
Feel free to either raise your hand or unmute if you have a comment.
I like the comment where the mind is being referred to as a child that's going astray. And that's what children do, is that they go astray, and it is the job of the parent to bring back that child. Yeah, I like that analogy there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, Krishna has already given himself to us in his name. He has done his part. It is our part that we have to do now. That was a big realization there. He's already given himself, and the last line in that paragraph said, God helps those who help themselves. So he has given himself. Now it's for me to try and do a better job of what it is I need to do.
Oh, mother, I love hearing that, mother. That is what will enable us to chant. The taking responsibility. But you have something. You have something that Krishna wants. And each and every one of us does. You have that minute independence. And if you use it properly and surrender to Krishna, then you'll know what he wants from you. And he'll reciprocate with us. So it's wonderful. But the chanting, we want to chant as nicely as possible. We want to be attentive. And as we're saying it, we have to mean it. It's from the heart. When you really mean something, you feel it. It goes deep.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't make me start calling names.
Hare Krishna, Haryasva Prabhu.
Yes, Drona Prabhu.
Thank you again for this wonderful Japa Sangha. The point was made about we chant out loud. Prabhupada was quoting in the lecture, so that the mind can become tamed. That if we just simply chanted in our mind, we'd fall victim to the mind's demands. At the same time, we also want to engage the mind in chanting. So how do we chant, outwardly, with our mouth, but at the same time, get the mind to become absorbed in the chanting? How do we get the mind to chant as well?
Just we can engage it like that. The point raised here was not to switch audible chanting for mental chanting. If we just chant in our mind, then we could just listen to our mind. But oftentimes I used to always sit down and I say, okay, especially on the days that my mind's trying to be really nasty, I said, okay, all right, I said, listen, you know we're going to get together later. We got all day. Right now, let's chant. I said, so, let's do this together. You go first. And, and let's start chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I chant my mind. In my mind, I say, go louder, louder. And I listen to my mind, chant Hare Krishna. Then I start chanting Hare Krishna, and I hear myself chanting. I hear my mind chanting. And I try to fix myself on the sound and get absorbed. And the mind also is explained is naturally in the mode of goodness. If you keep engaging the mind, then the mind will cooperate. The mind's like that naughty child running all over the place. Come on, I'm gonna give you some sweets. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on over here. Help me out. You engage the child, make some promise, give you some sweets. I'm telling you. Just pick up the things and then that way get engaged. So chanting in the mind is not bad. And even on in the higher stage, chanting in the mind is done as well. Like Thakur Haridas did part of his rounds in the mind. But for us, the point is Prabhupada is making is you need to hear it. Say it and hear it. Hear it. And chanting in the mind is fine. But don't substitute and chant in your mind when you're just, hearing your mind. And next thing you know, you're sleeping or your mind is taking you somewhere else. The planning commission jumped in through the back door and you're off to the races. So that is the point. The simple process is to hear, is to chant and hear. Chant and hear. That's the process that's been given. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Boo, I was thinking about the phrase that we read again about be here now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we think of doing our rounds, we think doing our rounds. At least me. Okay, getting my rounds done, doing my rounds. But it's really trying to be with Krishna. Be here now. And it's not something that's artificial. That relationship is already there. I'm just trying to refocus the mind to be here and now being in the present, like being not thinking about what happened yesterday or last night and what I have to do once I do my rounds, but really being present and just, it's a struggle. It's constantly that struggle, as you're saying, bringing it back. And I was thinking about what the Mataji just said earlier about the child going astray. It's the parent's responsibility to care and properly be responsible for the child. So that responsibility is never given up by the parent. It's their duty. And I was thinking the same with our minds, that we have to, it's really our effort that has to go into it to be responsible for bringing the mind back to the focus, being here now with Krishna. And it is a constant struggle.
That's nice. That be here now in the 60s, that was, everything is right now, really thinking sense gratification. But Satrup Maharaj turned it around just the way that you've explained it, to be in the present. Borijan, his phrase is always be in the present, stay in the present. So here right now is in the present. And that's the real thing that you're saying is to be responsible. But being responsible means that we're a little sober. We've taken serious the matter at hand of chanting japa. It's not something that's mechanical anymore. I heard. I heard the message. That's what we're saying. And so we become a little sober in thought. And when you become sober, you accept that responsibility. You told us Chalatim manas chanchalam astadam. Wherever the mind wanders, it's its nature. It's the child's nature. Bring it back. Bring it back. And it's true, it's hard work. But oh, there are times when the work isn't so hard. From doing the hard work, you get days when you get up and the mind is waiting for you and you start chanting and you start hearing. And when you hear that mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can't wait to say the next one. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because in that japa session, your consciousness is fixed. Your determination that morning is strong. Your consciousness is bumping up against the holy name. And to some extent, you're tasting the sweetness of chanting Hare Krishna. It's not just dry that morning. There's russet, there's taste. And the taste can bring you down to prayer. Oh, thank you, Krishna. Please use me. Please engage me. Please continue. And it can bring up, how rascal we've been. Humiliation. I told you, humiliation comes first. And here comes the humility. And you feel it. And as you're chanting, your mood is prayerful and you're present, but you're tasting. When we stop committing offenses to the holy name and stay present, we stay present, then we can touch the holy. Our consciousness doesn't go. Our consciousness is there with Krishna. That is sweet. So we've had the good side as well. The point is to not make japa a mechanical situation. 12, I got 4 more to do. 14, I'm done. No, that's mechanical. That what were you saying for all those rounds? What was the mood of that prayer? You were petitioning Supreme Lord, Radha and Krishna. Please, please engage me in your service. You were aware that you have an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and his construct, and that the relationship became broken, and he had nothing to do with that breaking of the relationship. But right now, by the grace of your spiritual master, you've been given this mantra, and you've been given the responsibility to call it without offense, and that's hard, but you're trying to do it. So therefore, in that consciousness, we can call the Lord. That is the consciousness. Not Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. 1, 2. No. As we go on chanting, some days we just want to keep chanting. We don't want to stop chanting. Because it's not by our work. It is that we've evoked the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I can't get past that verse. To show them special mercy, I from within the heart destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge that darkness born of ignorance. It's special mercy, So that's what we want to do, reestablish that relationship. Okay. Yes. Are there any more points?
Prabhu, I like this Namachintamani, like Prabhupada's lecture, Srila Prabhupada's lecture on the Bombay in 1973.
Yes.
So here this Namachintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, commenting, that one, Srila Prabhupada said, Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna's name or Krishna's form. pastimes, anything about Krishna, they are one. So that's how I sometimes, when I chant, I feel like Krishna's childhood pastimes like that, are lotus feet. So in this, he is saying, this by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, you directly contact Krishna. Krishna is the Nami. And otherwise, how this Hare Krishna movement is so quickly appreciated all over the world. That is a very good thing he said. There is no difference between chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and meeting Krishna eye to eye, face to face. Simply, one has to realize the more you become purified by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and you will be see. And somebody asked, it seems, can you show me God? That's what Srila Prabhupada's answer is. You can see, simply prepare your eyes, simply prepare your ears by hearing Cheto Darpanamarjanam. So this is a very scientific, authorized, practical movement. You chant Hare Krishna mantra and you will realize that gradually you are advancing to meet Krishna face to face. It is possible. So that's what Srila Prabhupada had all the experience with Krishna. So the chanting, we had to concentrate and like you said, mind goes everywhere, but we had to chant loud, and that's kind of yoga, he says,
But it too will be our experience. It's just, that's Prabhupada's experience. But Prabhupada wants us, each and every one of us, to have the experience. That's why we take serious the process, because those Prabhupada gives his realizations, and then he hears our realizations, what we've come to understand through the process. So thank you. That's good.
And one more thing I want clarification from this, another page, it says, this prayerful attitude as you chant, realizing your dangerous position, will be more effective than touching the tongue to the upper portion of the palate, like the South Indian Brahmana.
Yes.
So I just want to know, that means, can you explain what is that?
Yes, that's just a technique for chanting. The way that he's explaining, that's a beneficial technique of chanting, touching the tongue to the top of palate and chanting, with your mouth and your tongue, your lips. That's considered a wonderful way of chanting. But Srila Prabhupada said the chanting in a prayerful mood is more effective. It's more beneficial than the way which has been explained to chant nicely by South Indian Brahmins. So he's explaining a technique of chanting which is considered very wonderful, but he's saying your prayerful chanting is even more wonderful. That's all.
And sometimes I feel this, this slokas and other things when we chant Sanskrit, if we don't pronounce properly, will that affect?
No. You try, do the best. Krishna, you do your best and Krishna does the rest. If that was the case, I'd been going years ago. But even when your child speaks with broken language, you understand them, and your heart is touched by that language. So we pronounce the mantra properly, but as far as the Sanskrit, that's not our natural tongue, but it's fine. You do the best, and Krishna, Lord Chaitanya says, he carries what we lack and preserves what we have. So it's,
Because why I asked this, from childhood, I learned the way, the mantras, if you change a word, it goes a different meaning.
Yes, but it's okay. The thing is, probably in this age, Kalo Sudra Sambhavan. That's why this isn't an age of chanting, of offering sacrifices and chanting the mantras and things of that nature. Not qualified. And it's not the prescribed method for this age. But this age, if you simply chant nicely the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then all the benefits which are derived from the processes of other ages will be taken care of. This is the prescribed method. We're not qualified. That's what your problem is. We're not
qualified. Not qualified. We'll try to.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
do your best. Yes? Yes? Somebody said
Yeah, I just have one comment. It's getting late. I like this one. As you chant Hare Krishna, your dormant love of God will come out. Just as butter comes out when you churn milk. Butter is already there in milk, but it has to be brought out by the process of churning. So your love of God is there. It just has to be brought out by your chanting. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhika Guna Sravanadi Siddha Chitekare Udoi. I like that one. And Vishnu likes this one too. He's not going to say, but he has it printed out. And it's a really nice reminder.
you were breaking up on me a lot, Mother. I don't know why. But I got the gist of what you were saying about the analogy of the butter. But yeah,
Yes.
but my connection with you today is not clear. Is not good. Okay, Mother Vrindavaneshwari.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I think we've done our thing.
I think so.
Okay, devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's hit it. Vanchakalpa.
Kalpatarubhyascha,
Kripa
Sindhubhyavcha,
Titanam
Pavebhyuno,
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Keep
Krishna.
chanting.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Jagannath, I'm in the mood of separation already. Aye, Dina. Dayadra Natahe.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.